The Leafs have already made one move ahead of the trade deadline to address a couple of needs. It feels though they may not be done given their place in the standings. Justin Bourne, we need to talk about the Leafs ahead of or at the trade deadline. We're trying to identify one player, just one, that could serve the most optimal role for this team given their lack of something right now. So let's start right there, Justin. What is the need that needs to be filled the most on this team? I know what you're going to say, but just for the audience, please let them know.
My pick is Matt Dumba. That'd be the guy in the Minnesota Wild right now. The Leafs just brought in Kyle Clifford, and it was so refreshing to see him run into other bodies on the ice, which shouldn't be such a rarity, but it has been for this Maple Leafs team. And Dumba's a guy who can smash some people. He's a right shot. He's got a bomb. He can score goals. And that's been a weak spot for this Toronto Maple Leafs team, too, is just on the back end is that right side. And I think he's under contract, I believe, for 3 more seasons after this one at age 25. And so he's going to cost. I mean, he's not going to be a cheap fix, but...
You're taking on my questions.
Yeah.
So, Justin, what would a Matt Dumba cost to pry out of Minnesota right now? Yeah. We saw one deal already they made with the Pittsburgh Penguins. It cost a prospect, a first-round pick, and a player as well. It was a pretty steep price to give up for Jason Zucker. I imagine Dumba will cost similar, if not... more? Is that crazy to think of?
I don't think it's that crazy. I think it's reasonable, particularly when you're talking about a guy with this much term left at that age and the sort of the exclusive position of right shot defenseman. So yeah, you're looking at a Kasperi Kapanen, you're looking at a draft pick, and who really knows from there? I think that might be a little bit light. It could be multiple picks, or possibly a guy like Jeremy Bracco's a prospect. Who knows? Still, I just think that position is such. It would be such a great hole to fill for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think it would be worthwhile to spend that if you get a guy like Dumba.
Well, how much better is that team than with Dumba and say, Riley's healthy, your entire decor is healthy. You have Rasmus Sandin, who's been amazing. Timothy Liljegren's come in and, despite a couple mistakes, he's looked like he fits in as well. Like, it feels like you solidified that back end pretty well, and Dumba would really, really serve as a positive piece there, right?
Yeah, for sure. And that's, like, right now you look at their front end and you're looking at the big four. You're looking at Nylander and Tavares and Marner and Matthews, and you go, okay, they're going to score their goals. But then you look at the back end, you get a little worried. Dumba's a guy who can still move the puck, which is a big thing with Kyle Dubas and his preferences. You think the Minnesota Wild just moved on from Zucker. You think they'd be okay with moving on from a guy like that. It just, to me, that changes the look of the roster to you like what you have up front, now you like what you have at the back end. And obviously they just made the move to solidify their crease too. So all of a sudden you feel pretty good all over the rink.
So with Dumba in the fold, hypothetically, if the Leafs do go that route, what is the ceiling for that Leafs team?
Well, let's just say the ceiling is the Stanley Cup.
Of course, right.
Yeah, I really do believe it is. There's 5 teams to me right now that, we'll call it 6 teams that separated themselves from the pack. Let's see if I can do this quick. Boston, Tampa, Washington, Pittsburgh, St. Louis, and Colorado.
Nice.
There's the 6 teams, and then Toronto is the next team to me. They're that good. They have that much talent. And the addition of a guy like that puts them into that next echelon to me. Maybe not quite at the top tier, but they're one of the handful of teams who can win. And in hockey, anytime you get that chance, you got a shot.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Hockey, especially the postseason, is a completely different game. If the Leafs don't address that blue line position, specifically on the right side, what do you think that ceiling is for the team? If this is the final roster right now after the Clifford and Campbell trade, what do you think that ceiling is? I know you have them under that, the top 6 echelon, which means they have as good of a chance as any, especially, again, considering what the hockey playoffs are compared to other sports postseasons, right?
Yeah, so it's still good, but the problem is that you have to go through the division they're in and the conference they're in. Like, if you're on the other side and you're talking about sneaking in and you're a Vancouver, whoever, you like your chances of winning a round or 2.
4 of those 6 teams you mentioned in the East.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And you're looking at getting Boston or Tampa Bay right away. So odds are pretty long as is. I feel like you still have a shot, but they're pretty long right now. I would say 10 series against one of those teams, they probably win a couple of them at best.
All right, well, we'll see what the Leafs do less than a couple weeks to go ahead of the NHL trade deadline on February 24th. Justin Bourne.